Starmen Podcast.
Hello and welcome back to a special Starman Debates. We're still talking ponies. With me is my friend Curtis.
Ahoy hoy folks, still here, still talking about ponies.
And we done characters, we done the music, we need to talk episodes.
Yeah.
And this is the top 10 special episodes. We're going to do probably our top 10 worst, top 10 best, top 5 two-parters, and best season.
Yeah. Gotta get it all out there.
Gotta get it all out there.
We've been holding this in too long.
So, we might as well start with the low-ranking
The bottom 10 episodes?
bottom 10 episodes.
Yeah, start with the bummer category first.
So, just trying to bring up the episode here, sorry. I think we had a few in common on this one, did we not?
Yes we did.
We had quite a few actually in common.
Yep.
So let's discuss our in common ones first.
Our common complaints.
Yeah.
Yep. Common grievances. Yep.
So, just as a disclaimer for my notes is, if you made the top 10 in my list, I did not rank you any further, so there's no defining order.
Mine is in more or less order, but I'm not gonna worry too much about it for the purpose of this discussion. Since we'll be discussing our common episodes up front, my final ranking, I'll just discuss the other episodes in order from best in giant air quotes to worst. Least worst to worst, let's put it that way.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So, first one that we have in common, and I think everyone can agree on this one, is Over a Barrel.
Yeah. It was 8th on my list.
It was number 1.
Yeah, if
Technically
you're
on
going to
mine.
rank any episode, I think this would be your least favorite, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So why don't you say why you hate this episode?
This just is such a boring, dull, nothing happens and nothing needed to happen episode.
Uh-huh.
This is the episode I always skip if I'm going to rewatch that season.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a one of the sore spots in season 1 for sure. It's not a good episode at all. My gripe with it is it's an episode where nothing anybody does matters in any way whatsoever.
No.
The main 6 are all involved, but anything that they do throughout the episode is all completely meaningless by the end, where everything just devolves into a big stupid pie fight.
And that saves the day, apparently.
Yeah, and that apparently saves
I like... Alright, we'll throw this episode one bone. You weaponized pie.
Yeah.
How dare you?
Yeah. How dare you, indeed.
Also, what were you thinking? It's like, our town's going to be run over by buffalo. Let's throw pie at them.
Yeah. They were going for a Wild West shootout thing, but it just didn't work out. It
No.
just felt super lame. Not especially funny in any remarkable way. It was just... Again, nothing happened in the episode.
Yeah. Next one on our list is the non-compete clause.
Oh, boy.
And this is the episode that I tend to wipe from my memory.
So this is my absolute worst episode. This is at the bottom of the barrel for me.
I can see why, and you'll understand why I keep wiping it from my memory.
So in this episode is just pure pain all the way through for me. I was literally cringing all the way through.
I actually would have loved to be in the room with you just on the floor. Like a dying fly on the floor.
When the credits started to roll, my first words were, "Oh, thank God that's over." Literally. So we talked earlier in the previous episode about RD being flanderized to be a villain, and this episode epitomizes that unfortunate writing quirk. And makes
Not
her,
only RD, but
so that's just it, right? It's not just RD who suffers in this one. Applejack is just as unlikable and awful. Both of their characterizations are just bickering over the dumbest shit, and they look like the most immature idiots next to the students who are just like, "Come on, guys, get on with it."
Yeah.
And it's just so pathetic. It's they're supposed to be the role models, the guidance figures, and yet they're just acting like complete idiots while the students are just milling about.
Like, we addressed this in Season 1, Fall Weather Friends.
Exactly.
The RD and Applejack rivalry dynamic.
That episode was the AJ and RD rivalry dynamic perfected.
Yeah.
It said everything about their relationship. Sure. That they had some minor quibbles. They were very competitive with each other, but they weren't just complete bickering idiots.
No. It's AJ's stubborn and RD wants to be number one. So when you butt those heads together, some sparks fly. But they ended it well, and we can.
They totally made amends by the end of the episode.
Yeah.
They had newfound respect for one another. All that good stuff.
Yeah.
This episode ends with just. I've almost blanked the ending from my mind, but I think it ends with more or less.
The students teach them everything.
Yeah, and then Twilight does something stupid, where it's just
I knew you guys were going to do this.
Yeah, was it like something involving like Teacher of the Month or something like that?
Yeah.
I've
the overall premise of it was that they both wanted to be Teacher of the Month.
That was it. Yes, that was this episode. I guess the whole premise, and
which is the stupidest thing they would ever fight over.
Yeah.
As an RD a fan, you would know RD does not care about being number one teacher. That sounds like such a nerd thing to be.
Exactly. She's always worried about looking like too much of an egghead. So what the hell does she want to be the number one professor for? Who knows? It's just such bad writing. It's inexcusable.
So we're going to continue the train of RD gets thrown under the bus with 2, 4, 6. Great.
Yep. Yeah, so we both had this episode, I take it.
Yeah.
So this one felt like an early season lesson that was somehow made it into season 9 of all places, and it would have been a crappy lesson even then. This
shouldn't have even been a lesson because it's basically saying cheerleaders are as important as the actual team players in a sports event.
And yet, in season 1 episode Sonic Rainboom, we had Dash literally teaching Fluttershy about the elements of a good cheer.
Yeah.
So why did this episode need to exist?
This was alright. Dash knew this lesson as a sports fan.
Exactly. As an athlete, she knows the elements of a good cheer and why it's important. Oh, it's so, and then of course it's
the students
it's the student teaching the professor, and again, it's just so pointless to have a main 6 character learning a friendship lesson in such an obnoxious way in season 9.
And then the last one we have in common is Spike at your service.
Yeah, and this is where we were talking about Spike being used as a butt monkey. This is one of the episodes that epitomizes that. It's
literally Spike puts himself into slavery to Applejack.
Yep.
Because Applejack saves his life.
Yeah. It's the universe conspiring to make him look like a dunce at every turn.
Yeah. And, it's just, ow.
There's not much more you need to say about that episode. It's just literally Spike acting like an idiot.
Alright, so we'll just go up. I'm just going to go up my list, and you can just go up yours. And...
Yep, sounds good to me, man.
So, what's the next one on your list?
So I'll start with my least of the worst, like I said I would. So my number 10 on this list was Hard to Say Anything. This episode is ultimately more boring than bad, but I still hate it. It's the CMC trying and failing to play matchmakers in just the most predictable, boring, by the numbers way possible. It's basically just Hearts and Hooves Day episode 2.0. There's nothing unique about it. It contains a new character called Featherbangs, who is basically just like a Justin Bieber proxy. Like, whatever, man.
Yeah, this is one of those episodes I would give a pass to if it came up in my real watch list.
Yeah, there's nothing that you need to watch this episode for. I can't remember anything good about it, honestly. It's not the worst, but it's just not worth watching.
So, next on my list is Forever Philly.
Yep.
This is the Rarity treats Sweetie like a kid, Sweetie about like a kid.
Yep.
And it's just so hard to watch.
Yep.
Because Rarity always comes off as the more mature of the group, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And her just to baby eyes another person, even her sister, is just... Ow.
Yeah. It's a character handling the idiot ball, not recognizing clear social cues that this person is uncomfortable or not wanting what you're doing, and just doing it anyways. The worst episodes of MLP have those traits where one character just does not recognize the social situation that they're in and acts like a complete dunce for it. So it's unfortunate. Yeah. My next, actually, I think you also had this one, so we might have just missed the crossover. Call of the Cutie.
Oh shoot, we do have this one in common.
Yeah. So this one, another season 1 episode that didn't go over all that great.
Yeah.
This is when the CMC Cutie Mark Crusaders really didn't have much in terms of characterization, aside from being annoying child number 1, number 2, and number 3.
Yeah.
They're just not compelling characters at this point. They would become compelling characters later, mind you, but this episode is not where that happened.
No, this is we meet the annoying kids.
Yeah.
And the reason I hate it more
Yeah.
is because we meet Apple Bloom earlier.
Yes.
With the Sakura episode. I can't remember what it's actually called.
Yeah. Poison Joke episode, yeah.
The Poison Joke episode.
Yeah.
And I was curious about what they would do with this Kate character because she came off as more competent than the normal.
She was very mature in that first appearance.
Yes.
Yeah.
She played the everyone treats me like a kid, but I'm actually more competent than anyone lets on.
I know what's going on and you guys don't, basically. Yeah. And they just flushed it down the toilet.
And then this flushes it down the toilet. Oh, we're just going to make her annoying
Yeah.
kid character. Great.
Also, shoutouts to this episode containing the worst pony, who is Twist, who's just the most pointless child who has ever existed. She shows up to be Apple Bloom's friend for like a couple minutes, and then I don't think the show ever mentions her by name again.
Nope.
I think she shows up in the background once or twice again later, but she just has this doofy voice and bad design. Twist is worst pony. That's all I'm saying.
Falls off the map and no one cares.
And no one misses her.
Like there's a missing child's poster.
Somewhere out there is a Tumblr dedicated exclusively to Twist, and no one cares about it.
So let's throw back to your next one on the list.
So next non-shared episode is Some Pony to Watch Over Me.
Okay.
This one's a lot like
the Philly.
Exactly, Forever Philly, the Rarity and Sweetie Belle one. This is AJ being like silly and overprotective of Apple Bloom in a really obnoxious way.
I remember this episode, and yes, it is painful because it is way too protective.
It's just annoying. There is some. I see what they're going with in terms of comedic attempts, but it just came off as majorly grating to me, and I just hated it.
I remember quoting myself. It was like she was giving her all these like protective gear and shit. I was like, "Did you want to change your diaper before you left too?"
Exactly, and like maybe it would be a bit more forgivable if this had ever happened in a previous episode. But it's like this character trait was invented specifically for this episode and then never used again or before. It's just utterly pointless for the sake of creating a conflict. And then I will say that there was a kind of cool moment later in the episode where AJ fought a chimera, and that was actually pretty cool, but unfortunately
not enough to save the freaking episode.
It doesn't make up for the awfulness of the first half of the episode, which is just straight up unbearable.
Yeah. So my next is Appaloosa's Most Wanted.
Yeah.
This is another key. We're noticing a pattern.
We swear we actually like, or at least I do. I like the Cutie Mark Crusaders. They just had some really stinker episodes again. So.
They really do.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a Cutie Mark Crusader episode.
Yeah.
But I can't really say anything bad about it, but I can't find anything notable about it.
Yeah, this is the one with Troubleshoes, right?
Yeah.
Troubleshoes was kind of fun, but...
He was kind of fun, but like...
Just basically Eeyore.
Yeah, he was...
Yeah.
They ran into Eeyore, and basically that was the episode.
Yep. Yep,
Right.
not a whole lot of depth to it. My next would be another Butt Monkey Spike episode, which is Princess Spike.
Oh boy.
This was just, again, the plot was just like Twilight is doing some important dignitary stuff, I think, and Spike was trying to cover for her and ended up getting embroiled and looking like he was more important than he was, and just a bunch of stupid shit happened, and he was at the very forefront of every dumb thing that happened in the episode, which culminated in him making a complete jackass of himself.
And, yeah, everything explodes, and it's all Spike's fault.
He sneezes and everything explodes or something like that. It's just, again, more comedy, which ends up just being complete character-destroying garbage.
It did have one of my favorite quotes, and one of the things that I was like, I wish Spike would have just ran with that. It's where Twilight's trying to take a nap because of this big event.
Yeah.
And that's why no one can disturb her, and Spike's acting the mediator.
Yep.
But, so these dignitaries come up, and they're like, we need to speak to the princess.
Yep.
So Spike goes in just to check on Twilight. He's like, you put the hay in the apple, and then you eat the candle. I would love if Spike went back. She said, you put the hay in the apple, and then eat the candle. Make of that as you will.
That's pretty good, actually. Yeah, what could have been, right?
Yeah.
Yep. What could have been. Yeah.
Our princess speaks in tongues.
Yes. Yes, it's the royal translator, Spike.
Yeah. My next on the list is Simple Ways, and this is a Rarity and AJ
Yeah.
episode where this dignitary comes in and falls in love with AJ that Rarity really wants to impress.
Yeah.
So Rarity's solution is to act a lot like AJ, and it's the most racist thing I think I've ever saw. And then to counter this, AJ acts like Rarity, which is also equally racist. And it just feels like a high school drama.
It's such a bizarre episode, is what it is. It's just like, what is happening here?
It's like they threw their dignity out the window and just, this is what you got.
Yep. Yep. What is dignity? We can just burn it down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Selling out dignity for the sake of comedy is not always the best solution, let's say.
No, it's not.
My next would be the Hooffields and the McColts. This is just some redneck feud I didn't care about in the slightest. I don't remember why they're fighting. Again, I guess that's probably the point. These redneck feuds, no one ever knows why anyone's fighting, but it was a map episode. It involved Twilight and Fluttershy, which could have been cool, but they didn't really do anything interesting with that dynamic.
No, I was a little disappointed with that episode.
Yeah, it was a squandered map episode with a bunch of ugly, unappealing looking rednecks, frankly. I just didn't care. It might have turned around a little bit by the end. I vaguely remember. I haven't really watched that episode since, and I don't really care to again. So I couldn't give you the details on it, but I feel like it might have gotten a little better towards the end, but it sucked for most of the way, so who cares?
So, next on my list is Once Upon a Zeppelin.
Yeah.
This, the premise of the episode is Twilight takes her family on a vacation. She's princess. Her sister-in-law is also a princess, Cadence. And they find out that Iron Will is running the ship and is using Twilight's fame to booster his sales of ship tickets and tries to hold that against Twilight. So, basically, you don't want to let down all these people who believe in you.
Yeah.
So, you're going to do what I say, right? And part of me is like, you're freaking the law, Twilight. You can just tell him to F off. He has to listen to you.
Uh-huh.
If not, Cadence is there and can do that too.
Yeah.
Like, there was no reason this episode should have ended really quickly.
Yeah. Super weird stakes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I really don't know where they're going for with a lot of that episode.
I'm sure someone can correct me on why they couldn't, but
yeah,
for the life of me, I can't remember.
Yeah, neither do I. There's also that weird fanboy pony, which was kind of odd.
Yeah, like, apparently, like, didn't he always get hurt or something?
Something like that, yeah.
Like...
We don't remember much about these bad episodes, as it turns out. We didn't really watch them much.
No. There's a reason, like...
Yeah.
We didn't watch them much, and then...
Yeah. We're going off the bad memories we have of them, which are maybe slightly exaggerated, but man, they just did not click with us in the slightest.
So we should have 2 left, right?
I think so. Yeah, my next one would be yeah. Well, actually, wait. Maybe I only have one more. What do you? What
I
do you
have. Oh wait, yeah. Sorry, I have one more left.
Okay.
Sorry.
Cool. So I'll go with my. Well, it's number 2 on my actual list. Number 1 was non-compete clause, which we discussed earlier. My number 2 and my least favorite episode for a very long time was Mysterious Ne'er-Do-Well.
Okay, this is an interesting one because I kind of like this episode,
yes.
But then you started to point out all the flaws.
Yes.
And it went dunk, 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 dunk down the ladder.
Yeah. Yeah, it just kind of like pratfalled itself down the ladder.
I love the Darkwing Duck aesthetic.
Same.
I liked the superhero aesthetic, but then they really... I'll let you gripe about it because it's your list.
Nah, yeah, like you said, like it had the superhero motif was really cool. They had a character called Ne'er-Do-Well, had a really, really cool design. But what they did with Ne'er-Do-Well and the entire plot and characters was just not give a shit about it. So the whole premise was wasted on a flanderized RD who just goes from, like down to earth relatively, normal Dash stuff, to suddenly batshit nuts within the span of a minute after she's praised, and it just gets really...
She becomes so obsessed about being praised.
Yeah, and it's like... When you look at, again, like, I'm just going to point to Sonic Rainboom episode again, like, when she's celebrated as the best flyer in that episode, she cries tears of joy, enjoys her time in the spotlight, doesn't go psycho.
No.
And here we have an episode where that exact thing happens with just, probably an even more minor bit of
She
praise.
saves someone from a well.
She saves someone from a well, I guess. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she, starts to play the town hero.
Yeah.
Which...
Yeah.
But only for the sake of, I want people to adore me.
Yeah. So, she just spends the entire episode being a complete nutcase.
Yeah.
Again, the problem where RD becomes the villain for the episode. This is exactly what happens here. I will say that the rest of the gang, although they might fare a little bit better by comparison, they don't come across as very good friends at all.
God, no. The resolution to this, you pointed this out, and I was like, wow, yeah, you're right. This...
So all the rest of the main 6, in response to this ridiculous RD, concoct this thoroughly ridiculous and convoluted scheme. Rather than confronting her directly about her behavior, they decide to say, we'll just, dress up as Ne'er-Do-Well and I'll trade the role off from time to time and show her up in these different feats around town. And by the end of the episode, they unmask themselves and commit the worst sin that an MLP episode can possibly commit, which is just the central character doesn't learn the lesson themselves. It's spelled out in very plain, stupid terms by the other characters. It's just so disappointing. You could even redeem a significant chunk of this episode if you just let the main character learn the lesson rather than having it spelled out in the most stupid way possible. It's just mega frustrating.
Yeah.
And just like I said, the other 5 don't come across as good friends. They're just more interested in showing up RD in the form of punishment.
We want to teach her a lesson more than
we want to actually confront her about her behavior.
Yeah.
It's just so passive-aggressive and weird. Bad episode.
So, this is my number 2 on my list, but and I'm going to get yelled at a lot for this one.
Yeah, this is a controversial pick, but I get it.
It's the best night ever.
Yeah.
And it is the season 1 finale.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, why was that considered a horrible episode to you, Devin? And are probably now just leaving the episode.
Yeah.
If you're still here, thank you for listening. Hear me out. So Season 1 was a build-up. They constantly reminded us of the Grand Galloping Gala.
Yeah.
So you're expecting this big, grand, epic thing, and they open with that. Like, we're going to the gala. This is everything we waited for this season.
Yeah.
And then it just turns into a nightmare.
Yeah.
Everyone just seems off in character-wise. The worst things that could happen happened. And what the hell was up with Fluttershy?
It was funny. I will say that the Fluttershy scene was funny, but the characterization in that moment was unlike anything we'd ever seen before or since. It was just like, it was comedy for the sake of character, which we generally hate quite a bit.
Yeah.
I will say that I laughed, but I won't say that it was a good move for the character.
No, and it's like Pinky became annoying because she's like, everyone wants to party, right? So we want
to... imposing her style of partying on the rest of the socialites or whatever.
And then Applejack trying to sell her apple goods at a party that's catered.
Yeah.
And then RD trying to get the attention of the Wonderballs, but like really, really trying.
Yeah.
So it just felt like, oh, we threw everyone under the bus in this one.
I do like that it subverted expectations of, like, instead of just being a big nice party where everyone got along or whatever, it ended up being a mess. But like you said, it sold out characters along the way, and that's usually a really unforgivable sin.
I wouldn't mind if like something happened and it became the worst night just because one incident.
It's too coincidental that they all screwed up so epically, I guess you'd say. Yeah. Good song, though.
Good song. Great opening to it. I was kind of getting hyped about this night.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, watch as we like shoot holes for this episode.
Yeah. Prince Blueblood, everybody's favorite character.
Everyone's favorite forgotten character. No one cares.
Yeah. Yeah. At least he's.
I think they're galloping off with Trixie or
Twist.
Twist.
Yeah. Him and Twist are off having their own adventures or something.
Yeah.
And nobody in the entire universe cares about them.
No.
Yeah.
So we're going to move along to actually our top 5 season opening and finales / movies and specials.
Yep.
Now, you might be wondering, why did we do this? And the main reason is because the season openings, I don't think would be fair if we judged them on them being 2 episodes in one.
We thought it would be more interesting to divide the list into the bigger, more epic 2-parters and specials, and had, on the other hand, the more down-to-earth slice of life type episodes that tended to be the heart and soul of the show.
Yeah.
Kind of 2 different approaches, and we thought that it would be fun to rank them separately.
So this is why there's a top 5 season opening and finale.
We didn't want to do top 10 just because there aren't all
that many.
Yeah.
So, I do think we have. Actually, we only have one that is different on each other's list.
Which is pretty crazy to me, honestly.
It's really crazy. We did not collaborate ahead of time.
No, we did not. It's just ended up being kind of funny.
And to be honest, the one on your list could have easily been on mine.
And likewise with yours. Yeah.
So, we'll start with those just to get them out of the way.
Go for it, yeah.
So I put Twilight's Kingdom. This is the one where we meet T-Rex.
Yeah.
We get backstabbed by Discord.
Yep.
And we was very close to a Dragon Ball Z-esque fight.
Yeah. Like, I swear that some of the shots were just like shot-for-shot recreations of some DBZ exploding mountains, dramatic posing shots.
Yes.
It's kind of unbelievable, actually. They fight in like literally a DBZ wasteland, rocky mountain environment. Yeah. It's funny as hell and epic.
It's so epic. It's so over the top. It's just wow.
Yeah, I love that they went there.
Yeah. And as a huge Dragon Ball Z fan, I loved and admire this episode.
Yeah, and we touched on why we like T-Rex so much earlier, but he really is a really good villain in this episode.
Yes.
Just starts out as being a creepy, whispery dude in a back alley, sucking the life out of some unsuspecting doofus.
Yeah.
And then grows from that by gradually absorbing power from every nature of pony throughout the entire kingdom to become a giant, ripped, buff centaur god.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. Good villain progression. So my number 5 would be the cutie map, and this is where we got that song I mentioned earlier, the In Our Town, where we had the cult chanting. This is the episode where Glimmer was introduced.
Welcome to Innsmouth in pony form.
Exactly. It's one of the creepiest bits of MLP. It's a bunch of townspeople all acting really suspiciously. Instead of being half fish hybrid creepos, they are just like constantly wearing these big, unnerving, horrible smiles that are about as convincing as I don't know.
And the whole premise is that this town has given up their cutie marks because it's supposedly a better way of life, air quote.
They were convinced by cult leader Starlight Glimmer that this is the better way of life.
Yeah.
Which is bullcrap, obviously. The whole idea is that individuality, or the whole lesson, I guess you'd say, is that individuality, despite the problems and friction that may arise from it, is way more important than a world of conformity and mindless unity.
Yes.
So, yeah, cool episode in that regard. What I also love is just, like, the general dreariness of it. It's a very gray episode.
There's not a lot of action to it, but
it's a very quiet episode action-wise.
Yeah.
There's like none really until the very end of the
but
second
it's a
episode.
Very unsettling episode.
It's the best, or the most, I guess, epitome of the creepiness is when the main 6 are caught trying to sneak into the cave where all the cutie marks are stored, and taken back to a shed in the town, locked into it, and forced to listen to propaganda for several days on end on a loop.
Yeah.
It's very eerie and very for an episode of My Little Pony. I liked it a lot.
Like I said, I easily could swap that out.
Yeah.
It's like it comes down to, do I want action or do I want like legit creepiness and unsettling?
Yeah, I think we could easily extend this to a top 6 and just have literally the same episodes.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Good stuff.
So our number 4, we might as well just go over which ones we have in common.
Sure. So do you want to go by your list or my list in terms of order?
Let's go by yours because you actually ranked yours.
Okay,
mine
fair.
is just willy-nilly.
A bit more willy-nilly, sure. So the one I put in number 4, and this can be reshuffled pretty easily if we wanted to, is the Cutie Remark. And this is the season 5 finale. So it turns out season 5 was a pretty alright season.
Yeah.
This one is where we previously discussed there was some what if scenarios where what if this villain ruled the world or that villain ruled the world.
It literally is, what if the bad guy won?
Exactly. So they have a really neat way of setting it up by having Starlight, who's back for revenge from losing her village, meddle with time and try to make it so that the main 6 never meet at all. And so she goes and tries to prevent the rain boom from happening, which would be the event that leads to all the main 6 getting their cutie marks. And by doing this, she creates some truly awful futures for Equestria, which result in such favorites as Tirak razing the entire world to the ground, Sombra enslaving countless ponies, Chrysalis creating a horrible tribe of jungle monsters, Nightmare Moon ruling as the eternal empress of the night, etc., etc.
Discord. I love the Discord where he's just riding a freaking chariot with Celestia and Luna.
Isn't it a unicycle that he's riding around?
Something like that. It's so crazy, and
Yeah.
they're just doing a loop in the yard.
Yeah, I think Celestia and Luna have like clown masks on or something like that.
Yeah, it's like, oh.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. Those alternate scenarios are all presented in a very enjoyable and believable way. Has some of the best moments for Nightmare Moon in particular, in my opinion. Like, I love how she's presented as like this calm, clever ruler that we never really got to see before. Like, we saw her trying to take over the kingdom, but seeing her actually in the role of ruling the kingdom was very fun.
Yeah. And she doesn't appear to be like that bad of a ruler.
It's
she's
kinda
just very
interesting.
strict about it.
She's a tyrant, but not a brutal, vindictive tyrant. It seems It's very interesting. And of course, the apocalypse scenario where King Sombra's enslaved everybody has Rainbow Dash looking like a freaking badass man. God, that's such a cool design. She's got like a metal wing, a chip out of her ear. Looks like she's been through like hell and back, just rocking it. And she's got Maud and Pinky as like backup guards who like smash a boulder. It's pretty cool. Good episode, just like a ton of variety, great setup, great premise. The next on my list would be the MLP movie.
Okay, this is very hard. I didn't want to put the movie on the list, but the movie made it to the list on mine.
So it's like this. There was a bunch of two-parters. Then there was like one movie and two specials, I think.
Yeah.
2 specials, yeah, probably. And we just didn't have any place to put them, but we wanted to talk about them. So what better place to put them than with the company of the other prolonged episodes?
Yeah.
So the movie, what can we say? It's the animation and songs are top notch. It's such a beautiful looking movie in an era where everything is just basically like 3D CG.
Yeah.
I'll be real with you. I don't really like 3D CG all that much.
No, I'll be honest with you too. I don't care for it.
I know it takes a lot of work, and there's definitely some exceptions where like movies like Zootopia just nail their art style. But by and large, I vastly prefer 2D animation, and MLP the movie is beautiful. Yeah, the adventure is grand. It feels like a proper huge MLP adventure. Everybody's perfectly in character, and everybody. Well, I guess that's my one problem, is that there's a couple characters who don't quite get enough moments to shine. Namely, Applejack and Fluttershy don't get a lot to do in the movie.
And I kind of understand why, because their characters don't really... Okay, actually, I should back up a little bit here.
Yeah.
There's no reason Applejack shouldn't shine a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like, her strength would come in handy so much in this adventure, and they never really show that off.
Yeah. I don't want to complain too much, because it's like this is our third, or in our top 5 for a reason, but it's unfortunate that like they had like a bunch of scenes where like one of the main 6 connected with a brand new character introduced for this movie, and that happened for everybody except Applejack and Fluttershy.
Yeah.
So that's too bad.
I don't know. I think Fluttershy connected with the villains at the end there.
Hey, you're not wrong, actually.
She like played therapist to one
yes.
evil entity there. I was like, that's kind of fun.
Yes, that was pretty great.
But one scene does not make the movie.
Yeah.
But I will give the movie this. It really expanded the world that was much needed. We learned that Equestria is not the world; it's a continent.
Yes. Yeah, we got to see some far-flung places that you wouldn't expect to see in MLP.
No.
Including one town of scum and villainy, basically.
Yeah.
Everyone there was like a thief or a lout or a fraud or whatever. It's just a real mess of a town. Yeah, it's in lots of great music as well, like high production values in that regard, some great guest voices, just a real cool production. Good stuff, that MLP movie.
Really good stuff.
My number 2 was Best Gift Ever.
Yep, I have this here as well. It's a very fun Christmas special in my mind.
What a good... I will say that... so, the show MLP is predicated on having its heart and soul be based on these slice of life episodes. Like, there's definitely some big adventure moments and some quests and some world-ending stakes and all that sort of stuff. But by and large, MLP is about its characters and their day-to-day lives. And to me, Best Gift Ever is the best of what those episodes can be. It is just perfect. Everybody's perfectly in character. They all really do get equal moments to shine. It's hilarious. There's a lot of good, funny moments, and it's just straight up good holiday fun.
I couldn't agree more with that.
Yeah.
Just everyone gets a moment to shine in this, and I love it.
Yeah, and Fluttershy gets to save the day.
Yeah, That's the best Christmas gift any Fluttershy fan could ever ask for.
That's true. Yep. Yeah, the Discord Rainbow Dash team up was very fun, I must say, as well. And AJ and Fluttershy, like, putting Flim and Flam's plans to the kibosh was just funny as hell, too.
Oh, yes.
They really screwed them over in a great way.
Next on the list.
So this was my number one, and I'd say it's my number one with a bullet. The season 6 finale, To Where and Back Again. This is where Chrysalis returns, and instead of the main 6 saving the day, we get a team of misfits and and reformed ne'er-do-wells that are trying their best to actually do something
good.
good.
The B team comes in to save the day.
The B team is a very good way to put it, yeah. They're a great adventuring party, as it turns out.
So, let's just go over who this team is.
Yeah, go for it. Why don't you break it down?
It's Starlight Glimmer leading the charge.
Yep.
With Trixie, Forax, and Discord.
Yes. Yeah. Quite an assemblage, I must say.
Yeah.
So obviously we had the Starlight and Trixie friendship getting moments here, but man, who would have thought that we'd get to see Trixie interact with Discord back in season 2, right?
Yeah.
Like, who would have seen this coming? And they're pretty hilarious together, I've got to say. Just Discord does not have much patience for her cantrips and jackassery, and nor does she have much patience for his douchebaggery.
Yeah.
So it's very good.
Oh no, they're always like bonking heads, and then
yeah.
when Discord can't use his magic tricks, he's like dare to boast.
Yeah, exactly.
And like again, reasons I don't like Trixie, but like when you have that kind of personalities of Discord and Trixie, when one gets the upper hand, you know they're going to hold that over the other.
Yeah. And gloating ensued.
Like, oh, great god of chaos can't use his magic. Look at me with my cantrips.
Yep. Yep. And Thorax is a total bro. He's just a good dude all around.
Yeah.
Thorax. He ended up being a pretty damn cool character by the end of the show, I've got to say. I really liked his story arc. He was a high contender on my list of honorable mentions for secondaries.
He was on my list too. I was like, I guess we always wanted Changeling as a good guy character, like just a renegade Changeling.
Yeah.
And we got that, really.
We did. Yeah.
I just wasn't expecting it to do the whole everyone changed.
I know, right? Yeah, who could have seen that coming? I also really enjoyed the running theme throughout. Like, they tied the whole thing together beautifully with Starlight learning to not fear being a leader anymore. And that is maybe one of the unsung parts of this episode. Like, aside from just being a bunch of misfits, it was really about Starlight learning to lead a team again without fear of lapsing into her old dictator ways.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. She even got a chance to bond with Luna for a little bit in one of her dreams, where prior to Luna being abducted by the changelings, she popped into her dream to just kind of say, you remind me of me and my attempts to reform myself. So that was a really cool connecting point there. And again, like having the changelings come back, so damn cool. Chrysalis, so good to see her again. I love how that all resolved. I love that she stayed evil.
Oh yeah, I love that she's hanging off the cliff.
Yeah.
And Starlight's like, take my hand, and
yeah.
Why not join us?
Yeah.
There's a better way to life.
There's literally no reason for you not to join us, but because she's a spiteful, cruel monster,
she slaps the hand away
yeah.
or hoof away and falls. Yeah. It's like,
yeah.
If she could give up 2 middle fingers, she she would have.
Oh yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. That is why Chrysalis is great.
Yes.
Yeah, had every reason and every opportunity to change her ways, but just by sheer nature of her evilness, she would not. Yeah. Fantastic episode. I love how it was paced. The tension and stakes were perfect, and all the characters just nailed it. Good episode.
Very effing good episode.
Yeah.
Which now brings us to what is the best season?
Yeah. So for me, I don't know if you want me to mention them, but I actually had a couple honorable mentions. Just like 2 honorable mentions.
Probably your honorable mentions. I don't have one, but...
Sure. So, I must give a shout out to Season 2 It was the first season that we watched live. We kind of caught up with season 1 the summer of 2011, when it already aired.
Yes.
So this one we caught live, and boy was it fun to have a Saturday morning cartoon that we really cared about. What a cool thing to have in 2011, I guess it was at the time. Not since the 90s had I felt like, man, this is just awesome to be able to wake up and watch a cartoon that I really invested in. Season 2 felt to me a lot like where the show hit its stride as well.
Yes.
Season 1 is a very enjoyable season. It's got a lot of heart, a lot of charm. Season 2 feels like where the overall structure of the show is solidified more. And again, it was filled with some great episodes. And I won't dwell on this one too much because I think it's your favorite, but my other honorable mention would be Season 5, which you'll elaborate on.
Yes.
So, do you actually want to elaborate on that?
I will actually elaborate on that.
Because it was your favorite season.
This is my favorite season because I go over quantity over quality.
Yes.
And there's so many really good episodes throughout this season.
Yeah.
And a few just meh episodes, but I've never seen any really, these were terrible episodes. If so, they're far in between.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't think of a bad one offhand.
Yeah. And it had a strong opener and a strong closer.
Yeah.
So it really.
I mean, it says a lot, right? That our two of the top 5 two-parters were the opener and closer for season 5.
Yes.
It says a lot.
Which, if you're wondering, is the Cutie Map.
Cutie Map and Cutie Remark.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I believe season 9 was yours.
It was, and it was less consistent than season 5 in terms of like sheer number of quality episodes. But when you look at it as a season, the overall arc of the season is by far my favorite in the show, and that is that villain trio.
Yeah, watching the villain trio build in.
It's so perfect too because when I was rewatching them recently, I decided to just watch the 5 villain-centric episodes back to back, which is like 2 of the episodes through the season plus the 3-part finale.
Yeah.
And they flow together so well.
Oh yeah.
Like it doesn't miss a beat. Like it's such a cool story arc to watch. The team up, the realization that they are in fact stronger as a team, and the payoff we get with the finale. Like I just love that story arc. So for that reason, season 9 is my favorite as a season.
Yeah. And I will admit, season 9 is a very a roller coaster season.
Yeah.
It has really high ups and really low downs.
Yeah, there was definitely a couple that we touched on in our bottom 10 episodes where, yeah. Although I guess season 5, now that I'm looking at my list, that was the one that had Princess Spike and the Hooffields and McColts, so hey. Those were the 2 exceptions in that season.
Yeah. Like I said, I mentioned there's probably some episodes in there that I'm brushing over.
But yeah, just like in the grand scheme of all the other quality episodes, it doesn't matter that much. Yeah.
And I guess we're on to the finale.
Yeah.
I think we will cover this in this episode. Or, I'm going to have to actually split the episode, I think, here.
Sounds good.
We're running actually quite long. So we'll cut it here and tune in, and we will do the top 10 pony episodes.
Yeah, the big finale.
Until then, thank you all for listening. This has been a Starmen Debates with my friend Curtis.
Thanks, folks.
Have a good one, guys.